Hi everyone, how's everyone doing? Right, trust me, I'm a regulator, but I'm a different regulator that you've seen before, right? So very quickly, I'm from Abu Dhabi Global Market, which is the international financial center of Abu Dhabi, established on English common law. We are a very new financial center by any standards. When we set up in October 2015, the idea was to support the economic diversification strategy of Abu Dhabi. I'm with the regulator, so it's the equivalent of MAS here without the central banking role. I just want to quickly share with you our journey in innovating the space as a regulator over the last 10 years. Right, when we first started off in 2015, we had the amazing opportunity to start from scratch, no legacy issues, building regulations, importing the best practices around the world, building up from scratch. And we recognized that back then, the future of financial services is going to be technology enabled. So very early on, we already had this view that new age TradFi will eventually converge. Take, for example, crypto. Right? We are one of the earliest in the regulatory landscape to regulate the space. June 2018, we issued our framework. And back then, when we were looking around the world, the conversation was very much around money laundering, financial crime. We benchmarked against the regulators around the world. Back then, it was only New York Department of Financial Services and the Japanese regulators. And we spoke to the various institutional investors. And the conclusion was, I will only come into this space if you can make sure all the risks are addressed. So in the end, we end up launching a framework that essentially extends our traditional financial regulations to carve in crypto asset as just another asset class. Today, we have a young budding ecosystem from broker-dealers to exchanges to custodians to stablecoin issuance to prime brokers, and the list goes on, right? But it's young, new, and thanks to the help of the Abu Dhabi government, where the sovereign wealth also got into the picture, where they invest into the key foundational players to bring them in, form the foundational layer of ecosystem players for the crypto landscape to be built upon, right? So, for example, sovereign wealth dip their toes into mining, right? Why do they do that? Well, it creates the risk capital for borrowing and lending to take place, right? So 2018 was our journey. We started off back then. Along the way, right, we continue to engage the industry. So one of the pillars is about us anticipating the future, right? So there are three pillars, as I mentioned, right? First one is anticipating the future. So as we develop, we speak to players, we adopt and remain agile, and along the way, come up with new frameworks. So staking, the consultation paper went out yesterday. VA, borrowing and lending, we already have players in there, but we intend to formalize into rules and regulations in the next 2 quarters. The fiat reference tokens, we actually deliberately allow for yield-bearing stablecoins where most other regimes do not allow, purely from a financial inclusion perspective, but realize that along the way, the institutional investors are saying, if I can use yield-bearing stablecoins as a form of collateral, that's even better, right? So some of these things we are learning along the way, right? One of the tools that has been very helpful in us adapting and adjusting along the way is our sandbox. It is the place for us to experiment with policies. Today, we have a firm in there that truly issues on-chain credit without having to tokenize the real-world assets, which is still a paper-based asset, and then you put a token layer with it. But this is really, everything is native, where you have the auction process, borrowing and lending, all through the on-chain environment. Right? Along the way, we evolve. Industry is telling us that you cannot adopt an approval-based regime for crypto assets to be established, but you need to do a bit more reliance on the industry for them to do their due diligence. And we listen to that. Today, we are part of global standard-setting bodies of IOSCO, BCBS, IIS. We do express or exercise thought leadership where possible by bringing global regulators to have the conversation so that we can achieve some regulatory harmony along the way. Right? Right. So I just have 30 seconds more. I just want to perhaps end with letting people know that we, as a regulator, also try to connect with the rest of the world. Every year, we organize this Abu Dhabi Finance Week to bring TradFi, NewFi, sustainable finance people all onto the same platform over 4 days. So, and this typically happens after Formula One Abu Dhabi, which is the last season-ending race. Right? So this year is going to be from the 8th or 11th of December. If you happen to be there, please drop by, see for yourself, and see the meeting of the minds and see how things have evolved in the last 5 to 10 years. Right? Nothing beats being there yourself. So with that, thank you very much. Yeah.